he's the one who's behind the scenes with stuff like that, and he helped me write Friday. Whenever we together, it's just magic. Like, people quote it, love it. The characters are iconic.
Ice Cube just broke his silence on secrets he's kept for decades, and they will completely change how you see Friday. What looked like a simple comedy was actually shaped by behind-the-scenes struggles, risky decisions, and moments that almost never made it to screen. Why reveal it all now? And what really happened during the making of one of the most iconic films of the 1990s? Join us as we unveil the Ice Cube's recent revelations that would definitely leave you stunned. The movie that should never have worked. When Friday was being made, nobody thought it would succeed, or even become a fan's favorite.
For real? I thought you had a day off yesterday.
I did. I went in there to pick up my check.
The movie had no big action scenes or special effects. There was also no famous director to promote it. It was a comedy set in a neighborhood that Hollywood had spent decades pretending did not exist, and its star was a rapper who had only acted in one other movie. Ice Cube was already famous. He had been the driving force behind NWA, one of the most controversial and influential hip-hop groups in history. He had written some of the most powerful songs about life in South Central Los Angeles, but acting was new to him. Before Friday, he had appeared in Boys in the Hood, a serious drama about violence and loss. That movie showed that Ice Cube could act, but nobody knew if he could carry a comedy. The idea for Friday came from Ice Cube himself. He wanted to make a movie about the neighborhood he grew up in, but he did not want it to be sad. He wanted it to be funny. He wanted to show the joy and the humor and the friendship that existed alongside the struggle. In a 2024 interview with Entertainment Weekly, he explained that he wanted to show the hood in a different light, to show the world what everyday life is like and not just the tragic aspect that people seem to focus on. To write the script, Ice Cube teamed up with a comedian and music producer named DJ Pooh. DJ Pooh had worked on the soundtrack for Boys and the Hood and had deep roots in the Los Angeles hip-hop scene. Together, they created a story about a young man named Craig who gets fired from his job on a Friday morning. His friend Smokey shows up, and over the course of the day, they have to deal with a neighborhood bully, a drug dealer, and a debt that keeps getting bigger. The script was funny and real, but finding someone to make it was not easy. In fact, it was the hardest part of making the movie. Hollywood did not know what to do with a comedy about South Central. They did not know if audiences would come or if a rapper could write a movie. They did not know if the jokes would land. New Line Cinema eventually agreed to make the movie, but they gave Ice Cube a small budget, only $3.5 million. That meant they could not afford big stars or expensive sets. They had to shoot fast. They had to use what they had. According to Box Office Mojo, the film ultimately grossed over $28 million domestically, making it one of the most profitable films of the year relative to its budget. What they had was a script that made people laugh, and a cast that believed in the project. What made Ice Cube take such a risk with a small-budget comedy when he could have pursued bigger Hollywood roles? The cast that made history. One of the biggest questions about Friday is how Chris Tucker ended up playing Smokey. Before the movie, Chris Tucker was a comedian doing stand-up in clubs. He was funny, but he was not famous. He had done a few small roles, including a part in House Party 3, but nothing that showed what he could do. Then, Ice Cube saw him perform. According to Ice Cube's 2024 interview on The Breakfast Club, he knew immediately that Chris Tucker was Smokey. The energy, the voice, the way he could turn a simple line into something unforgettable. Ice Cube said, "I saw Chris on Def Comedy Jam. He did this bit about smoking weed and going to the movies. I said, that's Smokey. That's the guy." But getting Chris Tucker into the movie was not easy. The studio did not know who he was. They wanted someone with a name. They wanted someone audiences already knew. Ice Cube had to fight for Chris Tucker. He had to use his own money to pay for Chris Tucker's flight to Los Angeles for the audition. He had to convince the studio that this unknown comedian was the only person who could play Smokey. When Chris Tucker finally got in front of the camera, the decision became easy. He brought Smokey to life in a way that nobody else could have. The fast talking, the high-pitched laugh, the lines that would become part of American culture. "You got knocked the fuck out. We ain't never had no dog. I know you don't smoke weed. I know this, but I'm gonna get you high today." Chris Tucker did not just act on Friday, he became Smokey, and his performance made the movie what it is. In a 2020 interview with GQ, Chris recalled that he was just being himself and didn't know it was going to become what it became. He just knew it was funny. But Chris Tucker was not the only discovery. Friday also introduced audiences to John Witherspoon as Mr. Jones, Craig's father, a man with a garden hose and a temper and a deep love for his son. It introduced Faison Love as Big Worm, the drug dealer who wanted his money or else. It introduced Tiny Lister as Debo, the bully who terrorized the neighborhood. It introduced Regina King as Craig's sister, a role that would launch her to even greater stardom, including her Academy Award win decades later. None of these actors were famous when Friday was made. They became famous because of Friday. What was it about this small-budget movie that attracted such talented actors and made them household names? The truth about the sequel that never happened. After Friday became a hit, everyone wanted more of it.
Oh, so they opened that already?
Yup. I heard they hiring too. You need to go down there and see what's up. Show out-of-work ass.
The movie had made back its budget many times over. It has also become a cultural phenomenon. The fans wanted to see Craig and Smokey again. The studios wanted a sequel. But when Next Friday came out in 2000, something was missing. Chris Tucker was not in it, and that was suspicious. For years, fans have wondered why. Some said Chris Tucker wanted too much money. Some said he had become too famous for a small comedy. Some said there was bad blood between him and Ice Cube. The truth, as Ice Cube has explained in multiple interviews, is more complicated. In a 2023 interview with Vulture, Ice Cube addressed the question directly. Chris was blowing up. He had the fifth element. He had money talks. His price was different, and the studio wasn't paying it. That's the simple truth. There was no beef, there was no fight, it was business. After Friday, Chris Tucker's career had exploded. He starred in The Fifth Element with Bruce Willis, directed by Luc Besson. He starred in Money Talks with Charlie Sheen. He was becoming one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. His schedule was packed. His quotes had gone up significantly. The budget for Next Friday was higher than the original, but it was still a modest comedy. The math did not work. Ice Cube has also said that the door is always open. In a 2024 interview with The Hollywood Reporter, he told fans that if Chris Tucker wanted to do another Friday movie, he would make it happen. He said he has a script ready and is waiting for the call. Chris Tucker, for his part, has said he would love to work with Ice Cube again. In a 2015 interview with the Huffington Post, he said that Friday was one of the best experiences of his life. That movie was special. It was a moment, and I'd love to do it again if we could get it right. But timing and money and schedules have never lined up, and so the sequel that fans wanted has never come. If the door is always open and both stars want to work together again, what is really stopping a fourth Friday movie from happening? The secret Ice Cube kept for 28 years. For decades, fans have assumed that Ice Cube wrote Friday with DJ Pooh. That is what the credits say. That is what everyone believed. But recently, Ice Cube admitted something that changed everything. He did not write the script alone. The truth, as Ice Cube finally revealed in a 2024 interview with The Breakfast Club, is that the original script for Friday was written by someone else, a writer named J. Mackey Gruber. Gruber had written a script called Friday that was about two friends in South Central. It had the same characters, setting, and the same basic story. Ice Cube bought the script. He bought it from Gruber, and he brought in DJ Pooh to rewrite it. They kept the structure and the world, but they made it their own. They added the jokes, the dialogue, and also added the rhythm of the neighborhood. For years, Ice Cube did not talk about this. He did not hide it, but he did not advertise it either. When people asked about the script, he talked about working with DJ Pooh. He talked about writing the movie. He did not mention the script he had bought, but recently, he decided to tell the truth. In the same interview, he explained that he had bought the script from Gruber and then rewrote it completely. He said that what ended up on screen was his version, but he also said that Gruber deserved credit for the idea. Fans were stunned. The movie they had loved for nearly 30 years had a secret origin. The story they thought they knew was not the whole story. J. Mackey Gruber's name appears in the credits as a writer, but most fans never noticed. They assumed Ice Cube had created everything from scratch. Ice Cube's admission changed how people saw Friday. It was still his movie. His voice was still in every line, but it was also someone else's idea, someone who had never gotten the same recognition. Why did Ice Cube wait nearly 3 decades to reveal the full story behind the script? The fight over the sequel that almost ended it all. The Friday series has 3 movies, the first Friday, the second Next Friday, and the third Friday After Next. But the third movie almost never happened. After Next. Friday was released in 2000, fans were divided. Some loved it, some missed Chris Tucker, some thought the magic was gone.
Man, they both got in the car and bonked out.
You lying.
I swear to God, we was rolling.
Ice Cube heard the criticism. He knew that if there was going to be a third movie, it had to be special. But making Friday After Next was harder than making the first 2. The budget was bigger, the expectations were higher, and there was tension behind the scenes. According to an oral history published by Vice in 2017, the production faced numerous challenges, including scheduling conflicts and creative disagreements. One of the biggest challenges they faced was the character of Debo. Tiny Lister had played the neighborhood bully in the first movie. His performance was legendary. When fans thought of Friday, they thought of Debo. He was the giant man who took what he wanted from anyone, boldly terrorized the neighborhood, but got knocked out at the end. For Friday After Next, Ice Cube wanted Debo to return, but Tiny Lister was not sure. He had moved on to other roles. He was not sure he wanted to be remembered only as Debo. In interviews, Tiny later said that he came back because Ice Cube asked him personally and because he loved the character. The movie was set at Christmas, which meant the look and feel had to be different. The jokes had to land in a new way, and the pressure was on Ice Cube to deliver. He did. Friday After Next was released in 2002. According to Box Office Mojo, it made over $33 million at the box office. It was a hit, but it was also the last Friday movie. For 23 years, fans have waited for another, and Ice Cube has always said it might happen. He has talked about scripts, he has talked about ideas, he has talked about getting the cast back together, but nothing has ever come of it. Recently, Ice Cube admitted that the biggest obstacle is not Chris Tucker. It is not the studio. It is not the money. It is the legacy. He does not want to make a 4th Friday movie unless it is perfect, unless it honors the first one, unless it gives fans what they have been waiting for. What would a 4th Friday movie need to include to satisfy fans who have been waiting for more than 2 decades? The actors. The franchise lost along the way. One of the saddest parts of the Friday story is the cast members who are no longer with us. 2 of the most beloved actors from the series have passed away, and their absence is felt deeply by fans. John Witherspoon played Mr. Jones, Craig's father. He was the voice of wisdom and humor, the man with the garden hose and the strong opinions, the father who loved his son even when he was angry at him. John Witherspoon was a comedian before Friday. He had been in movies and television for years, including roles in Hollywood Shuffle and Boomerang. But Friday made him a legend. John Witherspoon passed away on October 29, 2019. He was 77 years old. According to CNN's obituary, he died at his home in Sherman Oaks, California. The cause was cardiac arrest. The news hit fans hard. They remembered his lines. They remembered his laugh. They remembered the way he made Mr. Jones feel like a real father, not just a character. Tiny Lister passed away on December 10, 2020. He was 62 years old. He was known for many roles. He was a wrestler under the name Zeus. He was an actor who appeared in films like No Holds Barred and The Fifth Element. But for Friday fans, he was Debo. According to TMZ's report, Tiny Lister had tested positive for COVID-19 before he died, but the cause of death was listed as heart disease. He was found unresponsive in his apartment in Marina del Rey, California. His death was another loss for the Friday family. Ice Cube paid tribute to Tiny Lister, too. He wrote, "R.I.P. Tiny Lister, a giant in every way. Debo was one of the greatest characters ever put on screen. Thank you for bringing him to life. You will be missed." The loss of John Witherspoon and Tiny Lister made a 4th Friday movie even harder to imagine. How could there be Friday without Mr. Jones? How could there be Friday without Debo? The characters were too important. The actors who played them were irreplaceable. How do you continue a beloved franchise when 2 of its most iconic actors are no longer here to be part of it. The moment Ice Cube finally opened up. In May 2024, Ice Cube sat down for an interview that changed everything. He was promoting his new album and was talking about his career. And then the conversation turned to Friday.
Hi, baby.
How you doing?
Hi.
Oh, what you cooking?
For years, Ice Cube had been careful. He had talked about the movie, but he had never gone deep. He had never revealed the secrets. He had never told the whole story. This time, he did. In the interview with Entertainment Weekly marking the film's 30th anniversary, he talked about buying the script from J. Mackey Gruber. He talked about rewriting it with DJ Pooh. He talked about fighting for Chris Tucker. He talked about the struggles of making the movie on a small budget. He talked about the pressure of being a rapper who was trying to become a filmmaker. "I was learning as I went," he said. "I didn't know what I was doing. I knew what I wanted, but I didn't always know how to get it. That's why I needed people around me who knew. That's why I needed DJ Pooh. That's why I needed F. Gary Gray. We were all learning together." He also talked about the legacy of Friday. He said that he did not realize how important the movie would become. He said that when they were making it, they were just trying to make something funny. They did not know that people would still be watching it 30 years later. They did not know that kids who were not born when it came out would know the lines. "I get stopped by young people all the time," he said. "They're like, 'Yo, my dad showed me Friday. This is the funniest movie ever.' And I'm like, 'Your dad? I'm getting old.' But it's beautiful. It means the movie lives. It means it's not just for one generation. It's for everybody." He talked about the comedy. He said that the humor in Friday came from a real place. It came from the neighborhood. It came from the people he grew up with. It came from the way people talk and laugh and survive. In the hood, laughter is survival. You laugh because if you don't, you'll cry. That's what I wanted to capture. The humor that comes from just getting through the day. Fans were stunned by his honesty. They had always loved the movie, but now they understood it better. They knew where it came from. They knew what it took to make it. They knew the secrets that had been hidden for nearly 30 years. The interview went viral. Clips of Ice Cube talking about Friday were shared millions of times. People who had loved the movie for decades felt like they were seeing it for the first time. What made Ice Cube decide to finally open up after nearly 30 years of silence about the film's origins? Was there anything happening behind the scenes that prompted this revelation? What the truth means for fans. So why does any of this matter? Why do fans care about the behind-the-scenes story of a movie that came out 30 years ago? Because Friday is not just a movie. It is a piece of culture. For Black Americans, it was a movie that showed their lives with honesty and humor. For young people, it was a movie that introduced them to characters they would never forget. For comedians, it was a movie that showed what could be done with a small budget and a big heart. According to the Library of Congress, Friday was selected for preservation in the National Film Registry in 2023. The National Film Registry recognizes films that are culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. Friday joined the ranks of movies like Do the Right Thing, Boys in the Hood, and The Godfather. It was a recognition that the small comedy about two friends in South Central had become an American classic. The truth that Ice Cube finally admitted makes the movie even more special. He did not just write it, he fought for it. He fought for Chris Tucker. He fought for the script. He fought for the budget. He fought to make a movie that nobody believed in. And he won. Friday has become one of the most quoted movies of all time. It has inspired countless comedies that came after it. It has launched careers. It has given fans lines that they will say for the rest of their lives. Lines like, "Bye Felicia," entered the cultural lexicon
Craig.
Bye, Felicia.
and are still used decades later. The truth also makes fans appreciate the people who made it. Chris Tucker, who became Smokey, John Witherspoon, who became Mr. Jones, Tiny Lister, who became Debo, Regina King, who became Craig's sister. All of them brought something special to the movie. All of them made it what it is. And Ice Cube, who carried the weight of it all. The rapper who wanted to make a comedy. The filmmaker who believed in his vision. The man who finally, after 30 years, told the truth. What does it mean for a comedy about a day in the life of two friends in South Central to be recognized as an American classic by the Library of Congress? And could there be another Friday? The question that fans always ask is whether there will be another Friday movie. For years, Ice Cube has said yes. He has said there is a script. He has said he is ready. He has said he wants to do it. but he has also said that it has to be right. It has to honor the first movie. It has to honor the characters. It has to give fans what they have been waiting for. In his 2024 interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Ice Cube talked about the fourth Friday movie. "I've got a script. I've been working on it for years, but it's not just about making another movie. It's about making the right movie. It's about honoring what came before. It's about giving the fans something that lives up to the original." He also talked about the challenge of making a Friday movie without John Witherspoon and Tiny Lister. That's the hardest part. Those guys were irreplaceable. Mr. Jones and Debo were such a huge part of the world. How do you do it without them? I don't have the answer yet. I'm still thinking about it. Chris Tucker has also spoken about the possibility of a fourth Friday. In a 2023 interview with Variety, he said, "I would love to do another one. It would have to be right. It would have to be special. But if Ice Cube calls, I'm picking up." Ice Cube has said the same about Chris Tucker. "Chris knows the door is open. He knows I'm ready. It's just about timing. It's about both of us being ready at the same time. And honestly, it's about the studio being willing to pay what it costs to get it right." The loss of John Witherspoon and Tiny Lister has made a fourth Friday movie even harder to imagine. But it has also made fans want it more. They want to see Craig and Smokey one more time. They want to say goodbye to Mr. Jones and Debo. They want to spend another Friday in the neighborhood. Ice Cube has said that if a fourth movie happens, it will be for the fans. The fans have kept this movie alive for 30 years. They quote it, they share it, they pass it down to their kids. If we do another one, it's for them. It's to say thank you for keeping Friday alive. What would it take for a fourth Friday movie to finally happen after more than 2 decades of waiting? Should Ice Cube make another Friday movie, or should the trilogy stand as it is? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.